Today, we're going to be ranking 3 different luxury sport watches, one from Rolex, one from Omega, and one from Breitling. And we're going to talk about what makes them underrated, cool and awesome, great pickups, or what makes them overrated, a little bit overhyped, maybe not the best pickup. I'm going to rank them here in this video with this sliding over under scale. I'd love your opinions. I'd love for you to tell me if you agree or disagree with me. And before we jump into it, thanks to the sponsor of today's video, which is Artem Straps. Artem Straps is out of Australia. They specialize in sailcloth straps, fabric straps, and their newest product, which I'm wearing today, is called the Hydroflex Loopless. So this looks like a sailcloth. It has the curvature of a padded sailcloth. It has the sheen. It looks like it's crafted out of thousands of different fibers, but it's actually one piece of premium FKM rubber. It's so smooth, it's comfortable, it's flexible. I really enjoy Artem. I have been wearing Artem for years. I've worked with this brand in the past. So check out Artem straps. Links are below. And if you use my link here, I do get a small commission if you decide to purchase anything. So that's a great way to support my channel. If you want to buy a great strap to change the feel of your sport watch. Now let's get to ranking these watches. Let's start with the most expensive, which is the Rolex Submariner. Now this watch has the best bracelet, the best bezel action, the best adjustable clasp that, I think that you can find sub $20,000. It has amazing lume, white gold hands and markers, a lacquered black dial. This watch has ridiculous comfort. I've owned 2 of modern Submariners over the years. And so speaking from experience, I think this is the easiest sport watch to daily. It has an in-house movement. It's anti-magnetic. It has 3 days of power reserve and is accurate to plus or minus 2 seconds per day. So just taking a look at the details, taking a look at the specs and the aspects of the watch, it's got to be ranked high on the scale on the watch itself, right? It's an amazing watch. But I can hear some of you right through the camera saying, Bruce, the Sub is so boring. Get a life. Everyone and their mom has a Submariner. Well, you know what? Let's consider that. I don't think the Sub is boring. There are some awesome references out there, be it vintage references, Surtees Submariners. There are some cool ones out there that I don't think are boring. And I don't know anybody's mom who has a Submariner. I'm a watch collector. I get together with a lot of watch collectors locally. I could probably name between 5 and 8 people that own one or have owned one. There's not a ton. Most collectors that I talk to, they're buying different Rolex references. So I don't think that it's so overrated or boring. I think it's a timeless design for a reason. And so I don't think that holds as much weight. But I do think that there is quite a bit of negativity associated with the Submariner when it comes to the price and how easy it is to obtain at retail. So I believe the no date is $9,400, brand new. The date is like 10/6. I think it's 10/6. It's over $1,000 more just for the date complication and a Cyclops magnifier on the sapphire crystal. If you want the green bezel, the only difference is an extra $500. So, you look at the retail price, but it's not just that. It's having to wait in some instances a year or more, or build a purchase history or a relationship with your AD. It's the supply and demand shenanigans that leaves a sour taste in the mouths of most watch collectors, right? So I'm taking this watch and I'm sliding it down the scale to the other end. I think there is certainly some just some warts associated with trying to buy a luxury watch like the Sub. Now, let's say you took a vintage reference from 1986 and you looked at the retail price then, and then you looked at inflation 38 years later, and the retail price is far higher than just the change of inflation, right? Rolex has taken this from a tool watch, an everyday working man's watch, into a luxury status symbol of wealth and success. And some people gravitate toward that. I don't think that that's so attractive myself. So, for a number of different factors, unfortunately, that don't really have anything to do with the specs and details of the watch itself, I would rank the Sub slightly overrated than underrated. And that's a little bit disappointing. But tell me if you think I'm wrong. Tell me if you agree with me. Let's chat in the comment section. Now, coming in with the second watch, let's talk about the Seamaster Professional 300. Now, this is a watch I've owned 3 different versions of the current generation, 2 different stainless steel, 1 full ceramic. I think this is as cool of a watch as it gets if you like the 1990s, right? If you like the lyre case and the wave dial, if you like the skeleton hands, this is bigger. This has those 90s vibes. This has excellent ARC, a meta-certified movement, a color-matched date in the 6th position. And unlike the Submariner, which just feels like you're sinning if you take it off the awesome bracelet, it looks wrong on a rubber strap. The Seamaster looks great on a rubber strap. The Seamaster looks great on mesh. And here's a picture of the updated wave dial with the mesh that Omega recently released, which I think is absolutely lovely. This watch looks great on a number of different straps. It's in a number of different sizes, complications, materials, strap options. It's available if you went in to an Omega authorized dealer. So it doesn't have the same warts that the Rolex has. And so for that reason, it's got to be pretty high up on the underrated scale, right? The awesome scale. But let's take into account some of the divisive things about this watch. It's pretty tall. It's a little chunky. It has a little bit of an unforgiving bracelet. Some people won't even buy this on the OEM bracelet. This has a movement that doesn't quite have the specs as the Rolex, right? When it comes to power reserve. I'd like to see an 8900 within this. I'd like to see a longer power reserve myself. I know some of you hate the helium release valve. I know others of you hate the flared skeleton hands, and you would prefer the sword hands that made their way into the watch later on with the electric blue and the Peter Blake. I like the skeleton hands myself because I like the original reference that this watch is based off of. But if you don't like the 90s, you probably won't like this watch as much. It doesn't feel as timeless as the Submariner does. And I think that has an impact on where this falls along the scale here. So taking into account the fact that this watch feels like it needs to be updated. It needs some refinements. It needs to be thinned out. It needs a more forgiving bracelet. It needs an updated movement. It needs some tweaks here and there. Because of that, because of the non-timelessness, because of the popularity, because of the Omega fanboys that enter the chat and will hammer you if you even make one valid criticism of the brand. Because of that, I'm going to rank the Seamaster a little bit overrated. Not quite as bad as the Submariner. I think the Seamaster definitely has some more room for improvement when it comes to the sliding scale, but that's where I would rank it. What do you think? Let's move to the last watch, which is the Breitling Superocean. Now, I've owned one of the current reference, the 44 millimeter with the turquoise dial. I think this watch is marvelous. This has the retro factor with the design going back to the slow motion chronograph. It's very original there. This is very bold. This has the size. Now, it's available in a number of different sizes. I like the 44. It's only 12.6 millimeters in total height, so it's easily the thinnest of the bunch. It has the same water resistance as the other watches at 300 meters. The ARC is also the best out of these 3. It's probably the best in the business, if I'm honest. And this watch cost $5,250 if you buy it on the rubber strap with the adjustable clasp. A little bit more if you buy it on the bracelet or if you put it on a Breitling mesh. So it's also the most affordable out of the 3 that we've talked about today. So for those reasons alone, it's got to be up there on the underrated scale here. I think it's a great piece that's often overlooked. And isn't that the definition of underrated? So, yeah, I mean, I really like this one. This has an adjustable clasp. This has the old school B logo. You can get this in a number of sizes, obviously different colors if you're not into the bold turquoise or yellow or whatever the case may be. I think it's a solid piece, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Let's talk about the movement. The B17 is the caliber within this watch, which I hate to say is just a decorated chronometer certified Sellita. It's just a Sellita with 38 hours of power reserve. So that kind of takes the wind out of the Breitling sails. I think definitely slides it back down on this scale. It's kind of disappointing for a watch that retails for over $5,000 to essentially just have a decorated chronometer certified Sellita, the same type of movement that you could find in a micro brand for $1,000. Obviously, there's going to be differences with the finishing and with the chronometer certification, but it's essentially the same movement, right? So you take that into account, but you take into account the fact that you can get a nice discount on a Breitling, or if you buy one used, you can get a heck of a nice discount on a Breitling. You can get a discount on an Omega. I mean, it's not unheard of, but certainly not as much as you would get on a Breitling. And don't even talk about discounting with a Rolex, because that's just not possible. So take into account the actual cost of the watch, and then take into account the servicing cost. It's going to be very easy and simple to service a basic Sellita with parts available for basically forever. So, yeah, you gotta put some perspective into this negative aspect here. And then you consider the fact that a lot of watch collectors, they gravitate toward Omega, and they would buy Rolex if they could, but a lot of them can't. A lot of them don't want to wait a year, or don't want to spend $10,000, $11,000 on a new sub, even if they were offered one at retail. And the Breitling becomes an attractive option when purchased properly. You know, you look at the style. If you're into the bold, you look at the details, you look at the thinness, you look at everything that the Breitling brings to the table at the price, and the fact that it's not as hyped up, it's not as popular as the other two. And I would have to rank the Breitling more on the underrated side and ahead of the Seamaster and the Submariner. Let me know what you think about that. Tell me where I'm on base. Tell me where I'm off base. Tell me where I'm crazy. I welcome all the interaction, and I will read every comment in this video. Thanks for watching today. Again, check out Artem Straps, awesome strap company out of Australia. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Let me know if there are certain watches you would like me to place on this sliding scale and do this exercise in the future. I'm planning on a few different videos in this regard, so let me know there. And if you would like to see more more content like this, please subscribe. That really helps me out. I'd appreciate it.